Bob is my name. I have a degree from a renowned university, yet I work as a janitor at the supermarket. I ended up taking this part-time cleaning job for a variety of reasons. It's unfortunate, particularly after graduating from a prestigious university. Although there are others who are similar to me, I didn't mind this job because I could see the fruits of my labor right away. My clean spaces look fantastic. I feel satisfied when I look at them. One day, while I went about my work as normal, a woman's thunderous footfall came toward me. She was obviously in a foul mood since she was scratching her head wildly. Catherine, a talented and attractive department head from one of our suppliers, is her name. At work, she's the talk of the town. Although Catherine has a sharp tongue, she is reportedly very skilled. I never got along with her because she would look down on you or make fun of you if she felt you were beneath her. Oh boy, here comes trouble. I hope nothing bad happens. Thinking this, I tried to avoid her by moving to a corner of the hallway. But for some reason, Catherine came closer, seemingly to tease me. Cleaning? Huh? Seems like the perfect job for life's losers, she sneered. I am used to such comments, so I just forced a smile and brushed it off. Maybe feeling a bit better, Catherine started walking away. Well, today wasn't so bad after all, I thought to myself, relieved. But then, the unexpected happened. Catherine tripped over some cleaning equipment nearby, almost falling. She yelled at me, "Why the heck is there cleaning equipment here? What if I had gotten hurt?" I thought she was the one at fault for not looking where she was going, but pointing that out would have just added fuel to the fire. I apologized, saying, "I'm sorry," but her anger didn't subside. "I'm sorry. Don't you mean? I deeply apologize. Don't belittle me just because I'm a woman." With that, she threw her drink onto the floor. Iced coffee splattered everywhere, and the commotion drew a crowd of employees. Oh no, this is getting out of hand because of me, but I was too flustered to do anything. With no sign of the situation cooling down, a coworker who saw everything went to call the store manager. The manager finally came, listened to the story, and tried to calm Catherine down, but she showed no sign of remorse. On the contrary, she snapped at him about the employee's lack of training and threatened to end the business dealings with the store. Catherine's company supplies about 40% of the packaging materials used in our store at the lowest price in the area. Ending the contract with her company would increase our store's costs by several tens of thousands of dollars annually. Knowing this, Catherine remained firm. The soft-spoken manager kept bowing his head, trying to defuse the situation. I didn't agree with it either, but I apologized to her with the manager, and she left for the day. One holiday, I visited my grandma's house. Given the continuous hot days, I brought her cold treats and fruits. With a smile, she said, "Thank you," and accepted them graciously. When I was a kid, visiting my grandma's house during summer breaks was a tradition in our family. I always looked forward to going to her place, eagerly awaiting that day every year. At grandma's, I used to play by the river, catch bugs with local kids. Catching a big beetle stands out in my memory. However, the area where my grandma lives has become increasingly depopulated. Nowadays, it's rare to see children around. Most of the neighboring houses are vacant, and nobody lives there anymore. That house has become vacant too. Seeing the empty houses makes me feel lonely, but the sunset I saw when leaving was as beautiful as it always was. This comforted me, and I headed home. On another day, while working my part-time job at the supermarket, Catherine approached. I had a feeling trouble was brewing. I'd hoped it wouldn't be like the last time. With that thought, I quickly moved the cleaning supplies to a corner. I wouldn't repeat my previous mistake. However, when she got closer, Catherine stared at me and began berating me. "There's something filthy about janitors. Aren't you embarrassed to do this kind of work despite being a man?" I was so taken aback by her rudeness that I was rendered speechless. Just then, Some top executives who were there for a store inspection overheard our conversation. I don't know who you are, but that's quite a way to talk to our employees. Aren't you, being a woman, also working in sales? Unaware that one of them was the CEO, Catherine snapped back. What's wrong with being a woman working in sales? It has nothing to do with being either a man or a woman. You know, don't act like you know everything. I was shocked at her words. She had just said, despite being a man, to me. The store manager rushed over, looking flustered. Mr. Smith, thank you for your visit on this hot day. Oh, Catherine, you're here too. The manager introduced Catherine and Co. It seemed Catherine didn't realize he was the CEO, and she looked taken aback. While Catherine was at a loss for words in shock, the CEO gently admonished her. You shouldn't say things to others that you wouldn't want said to you. It's not right to judge people based on their occupation. Besides, Bob here, while working his janitorial job, is also making social contributions. We fully support his initiatives, and we collaborate with the local government in backing his efforts. You see, while working my janitorial job, I had started an NPO to address community issues. The NPO that I started provides shopping assistance in depopulated areas. My grandma was the one who inspired me to do this. I graduated from a prestigious university and landed a job at a major trading company, which was my first choice. Traveling the world and making a difference was my dream, but the demanding nature of the job overwhelmed me, and I quit after just 6 months. This wasn't how it was supposed to end up. Having never faced any significant setbacks before, this was my first real failure. Feeling utterly defeated, I secluded myself in my room. My mom, worried about my reclusive behavior, told me to at least deliver some groceries to Grandma's. Her house, located in the mountains, was quite far from the town, and shopping there was a hassle. So, my mom would buy supplies in bulk and deliver them once a week. With nothing else going on in my life, I figured I should at least help out with that. Feeling somewhat better after a while, I took on the task. It felt wrong to keep hiding away. Every time I delivered the groceries, my grandma would greet me with a big smile and thank me. Overwhelmed by the demanding work and having lost my confidence, those words meant the world to me. They made me realize that even I could make a difference. Because of this newfound joy, I started visiting my grandmother's house nearly every day. As I visited her more often, I also started interacting more with her neighbors. At first, it was just casual greetings, but soon we began having longer conversations. One day, a neighbor said, "If it's not too much trouble, could you do some shopping for me too?" They were suggesting I shop for them while getting items for my grandmother. Most people in this area have their own cars. However, as they age, driving becomes a concern, and carrying heavy groceries can be a challenge. Lifting heavy bags into and out of a car can indeed be strenuous. I decided to help out within my capacity. Around that time, I had started a part-time job to support myself. I was working in janitorial services at a supermarket, a job I continue to this day. I couldn't leech off my parents forever, so I decided to start with a part-time gig. Despite my job, I continued assisting with shopping during my days off or after work. I wanted to see everyone happy. Although it was physically draining, the gratitude I received kept me motivated, enabling me to push through the fatigue. Then one day, while I was off and doing my usual bulk shopping at my workplace, the manager approached me. "Bob, you're off today, right? Why are you buying so much?" The manager had noticed my frequent large purchases and was curious. I explained how I was assisting my grandmother and her neighbors with shopping. The manager then praised my actions, expressing admiration for my initiative. He is usually reserved, so I was genuinely surprised by his appreciation. As I was leaving, the manager handed me a beverage, saying, "Here, take this." Given the scorching day, the cold drink was a godsend. I thanked the manager and accepted the drink, deeply touched by his thoughtful gesture. About a month later, after finishing my shift, the manager called me into his office. Alone in the room, the atmosphere felt tense. I have a bad feeling about this. Is the company facing issues? Are they going to let me go? My anxiety was palpable as I braced myself for his words. The manager made an unexpected proposition. Bob, have you considered starting an NPO to assist with shopping? An NPO. I was relieved, realizing he wasn't firing me. However, the idea of launching an NPO was far from my expectations. I never expected to hear such words from the manager. The manager had mentioned my shopping assistance to the CEO during a casual chat. The CEO was impressed and said, "Why not turn it into a business? I'll provide support." The CEO's own mother lived alone in a remote area and faced similar challenges with shopping. She wished there was a store closer to home. It seems the CEO felt the same frustration hearing similar concerns from his mother. So when he heard my story, he suggested starting an NPO. Indeed, having the company's support is a blessing. But can someone like me really do it? I left the company I joined right after college in just 6 months. I've never really worked a proper job, and now I'm supposed to start a business. I confided my feelings to the manager. Then the manager told me, "Everyone has doubts in the beginning. It might be tough, but I'll help as much as I can. Let's give it our best shot." Encouraged by the manager's words, I still had concerns, but thinking of my grandmother and the folks in the neighborhood, I felt determined to at least try. One of the requirements for establishing an NPO is comprising at least 10 members, so the first step was gathering people. With help from various individuals, I managed to recruit volunteers. There were many other things needed for the establishment. The application process was difficult, filled with unfamiliar procedures. I wished it could have been simpler, especially creating the necessary documents. There were so many documents filled with complex terms that made it a struggle. Somehow, I completed the paperwork, submitted it, and anxiously awaited the review. After a while, we got the approval, and everyone hugged, shedding tears of joy. We had only just reached the starting line, but just getting here was a relief. Once we started our shopping service, its popularity spread through word of mouth. People were grateful to have their heavy groceries delivered home. Many appreciated not having to spend hours shopping. With the growing positive feedback, the number of people using the service increased, leading to an expanded delivery area. Business was picking up, but I still wasn't earning enough to cover my own salary. I was barely making ends meet. I'm still not drawing a salary, so I'm working part-time here. I said with a wry smile, explaining what I was doing while continuing my side job. Catherine probably never thought someone like me would be contributing to society. She blushed and looked down, still with her high pride. Catherine seemed unable to sincerely apologize. Reluctantly, she muttered an apology and left. As she left, Catherine muttered loudly enough only for me to hear, "I bet it won't work out anyway." Why do I have to hear that? I felt anger boiling inside me because of Catherine's words. Without seeing everything, she was quick to judge. I couldn't forgive her, but with the CEO present, I couldn't show my anger. I managed to hold back my anger and express my gratitude to the CEO for mediating. He encouraged me to keep pushing forward with the business. The CEO's warm words soothed my heart. Still, my resentment towards Catherine continued to boil. Being looked down upon just because I was a janitor and being verbally abused was unacceptable. I'll show her that even a janitor can make a difference. I was determined to do so. Since then, I worked even harder on the NPO. While doing deliveries myself, I distributed flyers to attract new members and did postal mailings. I had other office tasks and part-time jobs, and I was swamped. Man, this is never ending, I thought, while I was drowning in the paperwork I had piled up. A kind-hearted team member stepped in to help. What's more, he even helped me with bookkeeping, which I'm terrible at. "Come on, Bob, don't try to do everything by yourself." "You're too distant," he said. His warm remark nearly brought tears to my eyes. I had been working tirelessly to prove myself to Catherine, but at that moment, I strongly felt that I wanted to build a great organization with these members more than anything. 6 months later, I expanded our delivery areas and no longer needed to work as a janitor at the supermarket. Our team had grown, and even though we're still small, we're pretty busy. Initially, everyone volunteered, but now, even if it's not much, we can pay them a part-time wage. With wages, the staff seemed more responsible, and I believe our services have improved. I had to step back from tasks like procurement to focus on running the business, so I hadn't visited the supermarket for a while. But that day, I was there to strengthen our partnership. As I was about to leave after my discussion with the manager, I unexpectedly bumped into Catherine. Memories of our previous conflict flashed through my mind, darkening my mood. Still, I managed to keep my composure and exchange greetings, trying to leave quickly. Catherine stopped me. I'm sorry for the harsh words I said before. I was just so overwhelmed with frustration back then. What? I was shocked. I never thought someone as prideful as her would apologize. Catherine confessed and apologized for judging me based on my profession and looking down on janitors. She saw the hard work I was putting in and felt ashamed of her past behavior. It turns out Catherine had been going through a tough time back then. She'd have been harassed by people who didn't like the fact that she got promoted to department head, especially at the company where she worked. The older ladies and the cleaning crew made some nasty comments toward her. They would say hurtful things like, "Who does she think she is?" Or, "A woman as a manager?" This, combined with a deal that went south, led her to lash out at me. It's true that I've been receiving harsh words, but I also had preconceived notions about janitorial work being worthless. I'm truly sorry, considering it's essential for everyone's comfort. So she had her struggles too. I was upset by Catherine's words back then, but understanding her situation now, I couldn't help but sympathize. It sounds like you've been through a lot. Please don't worry about it. As long as you understand, that's all that matters, I said, accepting her apology. We reconciled. Keep up the hard work with your business. I'll be cheering you on, she added. I'm grateful, Catherine. Continue demonstrating that women can succeed in leadership positions. She appeared taken aback by what I said, most likely not anticipating it. She most likely didn't anticipate that. I laughed out loud when I saw her shocked countenance. Her lack of seriousness is uncommon. Catherine burst out laughing when she saw me laughing, and we had a nice laugh together. In addition to the elderly, I intend to offer my services to people who are living alone and in need of home care. It won't be an issue if they have relatives who can come see them frequently. However, I believe that some help would be beneficial for individuals who are unable to do so because of specific circumstances or because they live far away. My goal is to make shopping no longer a hardship for everyone. Every day, I continue to strive.